Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have two very disturbing and very, important things that I'd like to discuss with you that really proves the existence of Dogman. I have never needed proof because of what I saw in '94, and many of you have not either. But there are still those that, need that proof. Before we get into it, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? The first order of business that I'd like to discuss is proof of Dogman's existence in the Pine Barrens. Now, during the interview with Paul Evans Pedersen, who has studied and lived in the Pine Barrens for the majority of his life, he had never heard of Dogman. Fascinated with the Jersey Devil and all of the other paranormal or superstitious events that happen in the Pine Barrens. But Dogman was a new kind of cryptid to him. Since finding each other, we have become pretty good friends. And he recently stumbled upon some very interesting photos. And, I'm going to share those with you. And he has, I believe, interviewed the person who took the photos. I know he's not feeling well because of allergy season and stuff like that, but I'm going to try to get him back on so we can discuss what's going on in the Pine Barrens a little more. But these photos were taken down by Atlantic County. Now, the woman who had taken these photos had some strange stuff to say. All right. State biologists can transfer problem bears south. Her son caught the Fish and Game releasing bears on the Franklin Parker Reserve several years ago. They stood in front of their license plate and covered their nameplates. They told him he was trespassing. Why would, on state land in New Jersey, they be releasing bears and coyotes in a preserve that's quite near the town of Chatsworth? Why would the state wardens cover their name tags and license plates while doing so and tell onlookers that they were trespassing in public state forests? Something is messed up with this. He knows the area well where these tracks were taken. It's heavily wooded. It goes down to the shore. These tracks were seen in a power line path. And it makes sense because Dogman Turnpike is how he said it. Which, we talk about waterways. We talk about railroad tracks. And one that I have really not thought about, but it makes a lot of sense. Power lines. You've got woods usually on both sides, or on one side you do. and you've got a clear open trail that's large enough for one of these creatures, possibly 2 to 3, to run down unhindered by anything. No sticks, no nothing. And easy hunting, if you ask me. So now I'm going to show you these very interesting photos. Also, he had made mention about the bear and coyotes, and I said, well, maybe because they're feeding something, and he said, or because they want to use these creatures or these animals to cover something up. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, doesn't it? The first piece of photographic evidence is a photo of the print next to this woman's boot who took the photo. She has a size 9 boot, and they look to be Uggs or some sort of Ugg-like boot, which are a little bigger than normal. A size 9 sneaker compared to a size 9 boot like this is going to be bigger. You can see the size of this print is absolutely huge. The next photo is, you can see that they are moving. Whatever this creature is, which I believe to be a Dogman, is now walking on this sand. This is behind, like he said, on a pole line behind a trailer park. Whatever this creature is, it is large. You can see the distance between its steps, and you can see the size of the prints as well. This next photo is, I'm going to try to get the background in this photo. It really stinks because of how YouTube's video or picture size is, but you can see this creature is bipedally walking. It is not a quadruped, and it is heading towards, or staying on this pole line area, but heading what seems to me towards the back of this trailer court area. There have been multiple sightings of dogmen in trailer court areas where it seems to me like people would be discredited. It's almost like they know where to go in case they're spotted, and that way they are not hunted, because these people would be discredited very easily, if you know what I'm saying. No insult to anybody who lives in a trailer. I'm just saying, like, in these parks, law enforcement looks down upon people sometimes, and it's bullcrap, just like the way law enforcement looks down upon people who live in Appalachia or the Ozarks and stuff like that. This next photo is a standard sized poodle, 60-pound poodle. Not a huge dog, but a large dog. And you can see that these tracks are definitely not from this dog, and are far bigger than this dog or any dog near this size, or for me, bigger, could produce. Definitely a very good picture for a comparative of size. And finally, here is a close-up of these tracks that were found in, once again, Atlantic County, New Jersey, part of the Pine Barrens. And like my friend Paul, he believes that this is proof that Dogman is lurking in that forest, and I do too. These tracks are very compelling. They're very large. There's adequate enough pictures of them, and the person who took them, I like how they used the dog as comparative size, used their shoe. You can see clearly that they are walking bipedally and they are not a quadruped. To me, these pictures say it all. And finally, the last order of business that I'd like to discuss with everyone is the Christopher Whiteley case. Some interesting facts came into play just as recent. If a mountain lion did not kill Christopher Whiteley, what or who did? Now, when this case happened, I was taken back because there was just a lot of back and forth between agencies, and it's a very strange case. Well, it gets even stranger now. Just a brief. Christopher Allen Whiteley never learned to drive. At 28, he had spent much of his adult life in prison, serving time for aggravated assault, struggling with addiction to methamphetamine. That's why on the morning of December 2nd, 2020, he was planning to hitchhike to work at around 9 in the morning. He grabbed his blue and white backpack and walked out the door of his girlfriend's house near Lipen, an unincorporated town of about 500 in the rural Hood County, about an hour's drive southwest of Fort Worth. According to the Hood County Sheriff's Office, that morning he took a shortcut through dense brush to get to Howell Road, a narrow country lane where he planned to thumb a ride to his job painting houses. But Whiteley never made it to work that day. The next day, a friend of Whiteley filed a missing persons report, and that evening, as the sun was setting, Hood County Sheriff's deputies searched the woods between the girlfriend's house and Howell Road. First, they spotted Whiteley's backpack beneath a cedar tree. Then, about 15 feet away, they spotted Whiteley's body in the brush so dense that it was a miracle that our deputies found him, said Lieutenant Johnny Rose, one of the on-scene investigators and spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office. Soon, Hood County Justice of Peace Kathleen Gwynn arrived on the scene to determine the cause of death. She had seen victims killed by guns, knives, car crashes, but nothing like this. Whiteley's throat, from under one ear to the other, was torn open. Small scratches marked his torso, forehead, and one side of his face. He was shirtless, even though the weather had been cold. We had no idea what exactly happened. After going over the scene, we couldn't make those calls, Gwynn states. Like most small counties, Hood doesn't have its own medical examiner. They had to call a local nearby county, Tarrant, for help. At that point, the sheriff's office was still treating the area where they found Whiteley as a potential crime scene. At that point, the sheriff's office was still treating it as a crime scene, but at around lunch the following day, December 4th, Gwynn received a phone call. Had she seen the press release that Hood County Sheriff's Office had just made? Mountain lion attack leaves man dead, read the headline. The release stated that the Sheriff's Office, game wardens, and trapper with the U.S. Department of Agriculture were all searching for the offending animal. Please don't interfere with the process of locating the animal and stay clear of the area being actively worked by officials, stated Sheriff Roger Deeds. Though Deeds and his deputies already suspected that a mountain lion had killed Whiteley, the medical examiner's preliminary autopsy prompted them to go public with the theory, according to Susan J. Rowe, the deputy medical examiner who signed off on the document. The puncture and lacerations on his neck were consistent with a large cat, a mountain lion. Gwynn was confused about the autopsy. Hood County has its share of coyote, bobcat, and even occasional kangaroo. But there's never been a documented mountain lion sighting in the county, much less an attack. It didn't take long for the news media to seize on the sensational story of Texas's first confirmed fatal mountain lion attack, or at least the first since officials started keeping records of such events. Hood County today, mountain lion attack leaves man dead. Fort Worth, Star-Telegram, missing man found dead in Hood County after mountain lion attacked him. Most of the stories took note of another startling development. Just days before, a mountain lion had been spotted in a densely populated suburb of Rowlett, just 20 miles northeast of downtown Dallas, but about 100 miles northeast of Hood. Now, then, these articles and how the case is stated, just it goes on to then this is where stuff really gets strange. All right. 2 days later, 2 days later, the not the U.S. Department of Agriculture, but the Wildlife Services of Texas disagreed with any kind of mountain lion attack. Mountain lions will kill their prey by stalking it, attacking it from behind. The cat would jump on its prey's back, digging the claws into the flesh, latching onto the neck, crushing its jaw, or crushing its windpipe with its jaw, killing by asphyxiation. With a lion's small but powerful jaw, the bite marks are almost dainty, typically 2 puncture wounds. Now, Whiteley's throat, however, had been torn wide open. He had died of blood loss. The scratches on his body were superficial, bearing none of the puncture wounds that would come into a mountain lion attack, which the curved claws would dig into the flesh. It's almost like whatever had killed Whiteley had grabbed him and bit into his throat. Kind of like, well, just think of a Dogman grabbing you and biting into your throat. There had been no evidence of a mountain lion in the area, and there still has not been. Now, a couple of interesting things about this, and something that made me think about this was I was thinking about DNA evidence, right? And I was like, well, I'm sure if he was attacked by a mountain lion, there would have had to have been some sort of DNA from a mountain lion on Christopher. They ended up, this is new paperwork that I just recently, 2 days ago, had emailed to me. Give me 1 second. So they ended up taking DNA evidence from under his fingernails, and they sent the evidence that was under his nails out to be analyzed, and none of that evidence that came back was if a mountain lion didn't kill him. DNA testing could have given better insight. There were no tests ordered by the sheriff's office, which was kind of weird. But then, after that, the medical examiner's office declined requests for the interview. They did send Whiteley's fingernail clippings to the USDA laboratory for searching of mountain lion DNA. The tests came back negative. The lab also tested 2 hairs removed from Whiteley's clothes, which determined to be canine. And, of course, they said, well, there must be a dog at his girlfriend's house. Whiteley's mom says there's no dog living there. There were also, and like I said, I requested this paperwork sent to me because I'm going on Sean Atwood's show and I wanted to have some real quality facts to talk about. They were looking around and they found tracks in the area that at first they thought were mountain lion, then they thought possibly were bear. These tracks were like that big. They said 8.5 to 9 inches wide and 11.5 inches long. Also, there were smaller canine tracks marking the area as well. To me, that has only one marker. That's a Dogman. Possibly, and I'm the more I think about these things, the more I'm convinced about little details. I really think that, yes, dogmen, when they attack, if they don't feel safe or comfortable, they will bring their prey up. Also, I feel if it is a lone dogman, that means if that dogman is not hunting with another dogman or 2, it will travel with a pack of coyote. I believe that the smaller prints, the medium-sized dog prints that were found in the area of Christopher Whiteley's body was coyote, and these larger tracks were a dog man. To me, it makes sense. There's just a lot of strange events and just a lot of strange answers to questions that haven't even been asked, if you think about it. And where and when do 2 Lipan or Hood County and the Texas Parks and Wildlife, where and when do you see 2 governmental agencies fighting? I'm thinking what happened is this attack happened. Hood County is a small rural county. They have no idea possibly what they're dealing with when they at first learned that, this guy had died. They saw the volume of gore and thought mountain lion. the Texas wildlife comes in and they know instantly what it is. They're like, these guys ran their mouths about this. We need to quiet this down. We need to shut this whole operation down. We need to kind of contradict what the sheriff's office is saying. That way it really looks strange to everybody. And it almost looks like the sheriff's office doesn't know what they're doing and we don't know what we're doing, or maybe we know what we're doing and they don't know what we're doing. And people will just forget about it and think that it's just another kind of mix up by government agencies. This case is by far one of the strangest. It is right up there with Tony Aarons and Amber Miller. Once again, one of the cases. I mean, this is all the research that I've done on this case. This is at least 70 pages of different information on this case that I have, that I will be bringing to Sean Atwood Unleashed to talk about. And I'm hoping that with the size of his channel and the size of his viewers, I'm hoping that I can possibly bring these cases to more people's eyes. And the more people ask questions, the more people will irritate these agencies, and maybe we'll get our answers. Maybe we won't, but at least I can be a thorn in their side. So, also, I don't want Christopher to ever be forgotten. Does it really matter that he had spent time in jail for an aggravated assault and struggled with addiction? No, because he's dead now. He's dead. They just put that in the documentation, the media, to make him look terrible, to make him look like he's less than anyone else. He's less than the police officers. He's less than the judge. He's less than this guy. And it doesn't matter that he's dead. Because why? Because he went to jail for aggravated assault and he's got a drug addiction. And that's all. And let's write it off. So, with that, my friends, I'm going to continue to search and hunt down information until I can't anymore. May the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us down that path that we call life.